right. Guys, welcome. Good morning. Thank you for being here. And especially the guys who are late, welcome. Thank you for being here. There's room right up front. Please come. My usual mode. Okay, so we're going to get started. So I think you heard what winning the wings means. And the talk that I want to talk about is about our role in the enterprise and what we do and why we do and why it's important. Okay? So without further ado, let me get started. Well, that's me. I think you knew that. So hardware makes everything possible, right? We're a middleware company. Hardware makes everything. This is the hardware. Applications deliver experiences. Right? Same hardware can deliver many experiences, can operate many experiences, right? And the middleware is the foundation. And that's what WSO2 does, right? We do the middleware. And this is the picture from Asanka's talk yesterday at the sales kickoff, and where he showed how companies buy systems of record, companies buy add-ons to those, and then they build stuff to differentiate, to create experiences that define what they are, what they do, and give value to their customers, their employees, their ecosystem, right? What we do is, of course, we are the orange box underneath the things they build. We are that orange or whatever that color is. We are the wind beneath the wings of the enterprise. We are the ones that give the foundation for them to be able to do those things. Right? That's what middleware means. Okay? So as a company, our purpose has always been to be a long-term technology partner for enterprises. We are not trying to do something for just a short-term thing, but a long-term project. Right? Long-term technology partner means forever. There is no end date, there's no expiry date, there's no exit date. And what that means is really help businesses navigate to the future, navigate to whatever is coming next. Today, it's all about agentic AI, et cetera, et cetera. But 5 years ago, it was something different. In another 5 years, it's going to be something else. And the future is just, there is no, again, future is like infinite, right? There is no end date, there is no, that's it, we're done. You know, there is theory about AI might be the that's it, they're done, but that statement about that's it, they're done has come many times. Usually it doesn't hold, something else comes, right? And people don't always predict what comes next. So when your purpose is to be in an infinite mode of that nature, our goal is not to just win a particular technology stack, right? Of course, we must be amongst the best. We must be the best in that technology stack. But our goal is not to say, okay, that's it, we want that one, now we're done. Then you have to ask, and then what? Right? So there is no goal of saying, hey, we want to just win agentic AI. We just want to win integration, API management, identity, developer platforms, whatever the heck it is. That's not our goal. We must win that too, or we must be competitive in that. Right? It's a cricket analogy that I've used multiple times. You know, when you play cricket, the goal is not to just win this match. Right? If you're playing worldwide international cricket, Sri Lanka plays international cricket, right? Sometimes well, sometimes badly. But we are at a level where we are going to keep on playing the game. We're going to keep on playing, and sometimes we'll beat the hell out of everybody else, and sometimes we'll lose. But you keep on playing. That's the point. So, and being a market leader is an important requirement to be able to keep playing. So again, cricket, I can use cricket examples, right? Cricket has this thing called ICC Test Playing Nations. I can't remember what ICC stands for, International Cricket Consortium, maybe? Council. Okay, whatever. It's supposed to be corrupt, all kinds of control freaks, all kinds of shit there, but whatever, we'll not get into that, right? But it's a group that basically, it's sort of an apartheid cricket leadership, right? They select which countries can play cricket at a certain level. And there's, I mean, obviously there are criteria, right? I think US just got in for cricket into ICC as well. They're in the Cricket World Cup, right? And, there's a US cricket team now, which is very good, actually. Well, not as good as Sri Lanka, but the point is, so that you have to be at a certain level to keep playing. You cannot be, you know, you cannot be a country that doesn't know how to play that game, and you won't be in the loop. Right? So that's very important. All right, so what is WSO2's big picture? The current version of the big picture, again, the big picture also evolves because nothing is constant. So the current version of the big picture is all around agentic enterprises. And we have some amazing things about why we are the agentic enterprise. We are the fabric that will power the future of the agentic enterprise. Because we have some things that are very, very unique that nobody else does. Number one, we are independent. We are the only independent vendor that has everything you need in order to build that enterprise. When you hear Asanka's talk and when you hear the other talks, you'll understand this more about why what we do is what empowers businesses to move forward in the current iteration of technology evolution and setting up for the next iteration. And we are, in fact, the only independent vendor that has all this stuff. By independent, I mean not one of the ones who are sort of conglomerates of everything, basically, right? We're also the only company in the world that offers everything as 100% open source and SaaS. Nobody else. Right? The only company in the world. Always keep that in mind. We are the only company in the world where every piece of software we write is available open source and as SaaS. Most if code base is still not open source, but we will get there. Right? And also, we've been around for 20 years. Not just around. We've not been like straggling and around like, people usually can be around. But we've been thriving and doing well for 20 years, and we have no exit plan. We have no end date on it. So the message is you can bet on us to be the foundation for your future enterprise. It's a very important message, right? So how do we deliver this? Of course, we deliver it through a bunch of products. And this messaging of the way the products are being mentioned here are not fully out on the website yet. It will get there. Very soon, in the next month or so, we'll be refreshing a bunch of things around the messaging and the branding of various things. But we have basically 5 areas we operate in. The API platform, the integration platform, the identity platform, the agent platform, and the developer platform, right? And I'm not here to sell you WSO2 stuff, so I'm not going to talk about these things, right? You guys all bought into WSO2 stuff. But why is it this stuff? Because this is the stuff that you need if you put yourself in the shoes of an enterprise. What do I need in order to be successful today? It is this stuff. That is the reason we build this stuff, right? We don't build it because we have somebody who knows topic A or topic B or whatever, but because we think deeply about the problem that businesses have and try to figure out what is it that we need to build in order to facilitate them to thrive and to go forward, right? So how do you sell this kind of narrative? I just want to, again, I'm not trying to, this is not the main topic I want to talk about. I want to explain this a little bit because it's important to understand. There's a line, there used to be a line saying, nobody got fired for buying IBM, right? And what that line meant was, if you bought IBM products, then you're not risking your career because, IBM's a rock solid, stable company, been there for, only tech company be around for more than 100 years, and genuinely is a technology partner for enterprises, right? Today, it's more AWS maybe, because when we are competing with someone, if somebody is comparing us with AWS, the buyer has a natural bias to AWS because their job is safe from buying AWS, right? Yeah, it might be expensive, it might be ugly, whatever, but AWS stuff is good. They're a great company, they do amazing stuff. We're much better, but AWS stuff is good enough also, right? And if you're worried about, am I wanting to go out on a limb a little bit, sometimes you might say, no, I'll just go play it safe. Just buy the stuff that I know is safe, right? So in order to get to that, you need to have brand and reputation. And we have brand and reputation. We have amazing impact in the world. My last slide, I have some numbers. I will talk about that then. We have a lot of impact in the world about how much we reach, how many people use our stuff, how many people get impacted by our stuff, and so on. But it's always an uplifting project. When you compare our brand versus AWS, we don't exist. Let's be honest, right? We have a long way to go. But that's fine. We are not in a hurry. There's no end date, right? Step by step, every day, make it better. That's all we need to do. Then it'll converge. And there's no convergence either because there's no limit. You just keep on working at it, right? Product experience matters because product experience is, in the end, the one thing that, as a middleware company, remember, the experience, the feel of the product is what defines whether you're going to come back and buy it again. Every little detail of the product matters. The partnership with them matters. The way we support them afterwards, the way we work with them. I'm not going to talk about an example where we screwed this up because we had a partnership with a top customer, US bank, and we were, there was a business opportunity that showed up because they had overused stuff, and they had to pay us a few $1 million extra, and for the last year because they had overused stuff according to the contract. We were like, oh, hell yeah, this is awesome, right? We get a couple of $1 million extra, more than, it was a significant amount of money. And we forced it on them to pay that amount. But that cost the partnership relationship. We lost trust with them. So in the end, the way you sell a strategic narrative is not by actually selling it. People have to experience the trust. People have to believe it and feel it from all these aspects. This line, if people like you, they'll listen. But if they trust you, they will buy. Because trust means I can expect you to be there when I need you. And you'll be there tomorrow, you'll be there when problems happen, you won't walk away from it. Right? Just as a quick side thing, just to remind you that LLMs are wonderful, but also completely brain dead. If you notice, there's a spelling mistake on this slide. Right? At the bottom, it says, under logic, it says, I know you can do it, your reasoning and judgment are sound. It's not actually judgment, it says judgment are sound. The reason is, if you have a nice picture in my slides, you know it was generated, right? My slides are white with text lists usually. This was generated, I beautify my slide. And it was spelled judgment in my English spelling, but AI doesn't know the difference between an M and an R and an N next to each other, right? It's just pixels. So this is a good reminder that it generates stuff, but it's just pixels. It doesn't know that there was an M there, not a bunch of pixels, and so it inserts a little bit of space. So keep that in mind. Okay, here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how to be a company that builds the greatest middleware for today, tomorrow, and forever. Right? I'm going to talk about three aspects. There's more things we could easily talk about, but I'm going to talk about three aspects. First is designing for the long term. So, middleware is long term because even though everything changes, things change slowly. Most of our customers, when they buy our stuff, use us for years. I think our oldest customer now is close to probably more than 15 years. Actually, more than 15 years, right? I won't name them because it's a public video. I think about 18 years they've been our customer now, right? And the reason is, while things change, the fundamentals don't keep changing. Things do evolve, things change, but very slowly. The fundamental principles behind computer science don't change because there's XML to JSON transformation. Right? The concepts of service-oriented architecture, which were invented actually going back to the 60s in COBOL and mainframes, and then reinvented in one iteration, reinvented in another iteration, and so on, are fundamentally remaining, and they will remain for a very long time because it's about conceptual fundamentals, which you don't change just because the way in which you express your messages change, or the way you communicate or whatever changes, right? And so because of that, things change slowly. And also when you buy some middleware and install it in an organization, it works. And if it's working, you apply the if it ain't broke, don't fix it principle, which is don't go mess with it. So sales guys don't sometimes understand this. They're like, well, they're not using the latest version. I mean, from a customer perspective, why should I bother? It works perfectly fine. It does what I need. Why do I need to update to your latest version? That's your problem, not mine, right? So these are things that these are challenges, right? And so as a result, changing middleware is very expensive. So it's a long-term thing, always a long-term thing. I mean, just use an example. Samira pointed this out recently that this is a TOB programming language index for 2026, 2025. It just came out. And it has actually the winner in 2025 as the language of the year is C#. Right? The winner language of the year for them is the language that moved up the most. And they had moved up 2% something or the other, right? It's number 4 here in the list, but it had moved up by 2%. And Go, which, as you guys all know, we are moving all our infrastructure, all our middleware authoring from Java to Go as we go forward, is still just 1.24% at the bottom, right? Number 16 and 17. And it's tied with Scratch. I think everybody knows what Scratch is, right? Yes. Scratch is this visual programming language that MIT invented a long time ago, used for teaching kids how to program. It's brilliantly good, right? And Yet, but Go is still a very, very important language. It's got nothing to do with the size, right? We chose Go because Go solves a set of problems in a particular way that is suitable for writing middleware. But the point is, all this stuff takes a very long time. Go's been around for, I think, 15 years maybe now. Python's been around for 30 plus years. Java's been around, I think, 1989 when they started. 93, I started doing stuff with Java. So, long time. Right? Older than most people in this room. Stuff moves slowly. So how do you design for the long term? So first principle is it's not by riding hype curves. Right? I think everybody knows the Gartner hype curve. Beautifully brilliant concept because it always works, which is that whenever something new comes out, everybody gets excited. And then money pours in, people pour in, and boom, everybody's like, oh yeah, this is great. We're going to change everything. World's going to be a better place. And we'll take everything and just do that. And after some point, you realize the x-axis is time, right? After some point, you realize, oh shit, it's great, but not, it's good, but it's not great. It's good for some stuff, it's great for some stuff, but not great at everything. So that's the peak of inflated expectation. Then you're like, oh shit, it's not good for anything. Kind of drops to the other side. Doesn't usually drop all the way to the bottom, and you hit this trough of disillusionment where you're like, oh, okay, whatever, right? And then you climb back up to the plateau of productivity, which is when you realize, okay, it's good for this, it's not good for that, but it's really good for this, so use that. Programming language is an example. When Java first came out, there was Java OS, there's Java in the browser, Java on your phone, Java, Java everywhere, right? And after a while you realize, well, okay, Java is not the greatest language for the browser. JavaScript is much better. And there's tons of reasons why, right? Etc. So if you run, and by the way, one of the reasons for this is that when you keep going up the hype curve, there's a bunch of people, that's when you make a lot of money because the valuation of companies is highest while you're going up the hype curve. So if you learn how to create something at the bottom of the hype curve and write it up and get off at the top, you're going to do well. These people are called serial entrepreneurs. Right? They know how to do this repeatedly. It's an art form. Not for me, it's an art form. Some people really are good at it, which is, it's like politics, right? Everybody doesn't like politics, people look down on politics, but it is a skill set, it's an art form. You got to learn, be really good at bullshitting all the time to be a politician. That takes talent. So that's one of the reasons also why hype curves go up, go like this, because everybody piles on. Investors pile on, thinking you can make a lot of money. And yes, you can make a lot of money, because if you can get off at the crest, you've done best. But if you can get off near the crest, you've done really well, right? Now, so the way you work with it is you don't aim for that curve, you aim for the plateau of productivity. Right? You try to figure out, okay, there is something here. When there's a technology trigger, it's rarely completely zero. And sometimes it is completely zero, because not everything recovers through the trough of disillusionment. Some of them just fall off the end, and that's it. Never continues on, right? So you need to figure out what is the core of it, and then figure out how to get there. And that's the way we have always built products. Our design point has been to keep our product in that narrow band to the extent possible. Now, we don't, of course, get to that right away. So there is a waffling and a settling down that has to happen, because we don't know the future just like nobody else knows the future. But when we operate, we have to try to operate without navigate into the future with the hype, right? With the depth. So how do you do that? So the first thing is, the most important question you should always ask is why? Why does this thing exist? Why does the reason for this thing to exist? Go back a few times to the why. Then you understand why. Once you understand why, you need deep work to understand the science behind the technology. This is why depth of work is really, really important. People can work at a shallow level and ride the hype curve. Everybody can learn Gen AI, right? And write some stuff and make something that works and then sell and be done with it. If you can do that and you want to do that and you're happy doing that, go for it. But not in WSO2. In WSO2, we try to understand why there is a technology trigger. Why is it the right time for the technology to go? Because in many technologies, they come back a few times before they take off. It's the right balance of the hardware, the software, the environment, the politics, the people, all that stuff has to be there for a technology to become commodity, right? The marketplace successes. So you have to understand the science behind the technology. You have to ask difficult questions to do that. You have to challenge each other. And through that, you have to form your own gut feeling. So this is what I personally do. When there's something new that I don't know anything about, there's tons of stuff. I'm always learning stuff. When I see some new thing, I try to read and experience it from different angles. Try to understand what is it that when Docker, Kubernetes, and so forth started really becoming hot, I knew about Unix, I knew about LXC, I knew about a bunch of stuff, namespaces in Unix, and so forth. But then what was the real value proposition of Docker? It's a layered file system and the way they manage that experience, right? And then what's the value proposition of Kubernetes? So you have to think deeply and form your own judgment. And then you start figuring out, okay, this is the core value of it. Then you can aim for that plateau of productivity. Right? And you can't trust anyone while doing it. You can't say, well, he said that or she said that. That's not good enough. You have to form your own judgment. You need to go deep enough to form your own judgment. And you also can't trust yourself because as all of us are very biased, right? We're biased from our prior experiences, prior knowledge. And you have to somehow step out of that when you're trying to evaluate something. Because when there's new things, natural inertia is to say, new stuff is not good. Right? Unless you're the hype curve following type, where the new stuff is always good, which is also not a good position to take. Right? And finally, the other important thing is you have to ask, and then what? To me, these are the two most important questions. Why and then what? And then what says, okay, great, now we got this. Now what happens? What's the next thing? What comes after? How do I use it? How do I apply it? What is the next technological evolution? Because if you don't think about the future, you are aiming for an exit. Right? Nothing we do should be about, this is the problem, we solve the problem, we're done. Right? Nothing works in life like that. But at the same time, you do need to play to the hype sometimes, because buyers buy hype. Right now, if you don't talk about the two most important letters in the alphabet, you don't exist. Right? Because people want to hear that. So you do have to play to the hype a little bit. As a company, we don't get a choice of saying, well, ignore hype. And again, remember, hype is not without merit. There's always something behind it. So you got to go figure out what that merit is and deliver to that. Right? The key thing is we are not a flip company. We are here to be today, tomorrow, and forever. Right? As a company, we're not here to make some technology stack be the one for us. Because then what? Working as one team. So again, I showed this a little bit earlier. Now, we are working on, I think some of you have seen this, or many of you have seen this. All the product teams will be aware of this. We are working on improving how we package and distribute our products. We are going to have a naming structure, consistent, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to have a whole bunch of boxes like this, right? I won't get into this detail. And then we also have 3 different technical teams in this room. I think I didn't miss anybody, but I think there are 3 core technical teams in WSO2. There's an engineering team that builds all the product stuff, right? There's a sales engineering team that helps take it to customers, and the customer success team who works with the customers from the time they become a customer, right? And actually, when we first started, we had one team that did all of these. That was by design. That was so that engineers would experience what it's like to sell and support. Like, that came from our open source experience. Because in an open source project, if you go to an Apache open source project, there's a dev list and a user list. Dev list is for development conversations, user list is for user conversations. And there's no different people answering questions on the user list. It's the same dev people answering questions on the user list. Same dev people write the docs. Same dev people do the QA. For the longest time, I was against having any QA people in the company. And now we automate quality, right? And quality assurance is an engineering skill in WSO2. Writing documentation has to be an engineering skill because we have to work together as one unit. But anyway, coming back to, so how do you work as one unit when there's so many different boxes? Because any one person here is probably in one of the boxes. So how do you work as one unit? The way you work as one unit is by building trust, transparency, collaboration, communication across the entire system. You can't have people protecting stuff, saying, hey, this is my thing, stay out of it. You can't have people asking other people, can I get access to it? I used to work in IBM. In IBM, I mean, this is pre-GitHub days, right? There was no, you couldn't get to the source code of any product. We had contributed something to the WebSphere code base in my team, and we couldn't get to the WebSphere code base. They wouldn't let us access to the WebSphere code base. We're inside IBM Research. We couldn't get access to it, right? Because somehow the idea was, I don't know, maybe you would steal it, or that you would learn from it. I don't know. In our case, everything is open, right? If there's anything you cannot access, that's a bug, not a feature. All the code we write is available to everybody to see. Every pull request is visible. You can watch any repo you want. You can send a PR on any repo you want. I know everybody's busy, so we're not asking you to go send PRs, but if you want to learn something, you want to contribute something, you can. Whether you are in customer success or in sales engineering or in R&D, you can send a PR to a demo site, you can send a PR to a sample, you can send a PR to the code base, you can send a PR to the documentation, to whatever you want, no problem, right? So you work as one team by getting everybody to collaborate with transparency and trust. If you build trust with each other, you can collaborate. If I don't trust you, I'm going to wonder whether I got to watch my back when I walk around, right? In WSO2, nobody should be having to feel like they have to watch your back. There is no such situation needed. The day we have that, we're finished. Another advantage we have in building this one platform approach is that so let's talk about our competitors. There are two kinds of competitors. One is one-trick pony companies. These are great companies, by the way. I don't mean to demean anything here, right? Kong is a fantastic company. If you haven't listened to Kong founders, there was an interview with the Kong founder. I think I sent that out to the company. It was a brilliantly interesting interview, right? Very inspiring interview with him. Can't remember his name right now. And so these are all great companies, but they solve one problem domain. Kong is fantastic API management. We're better, but Kong is fantastic, right? And Workato is fantastic at what they do. Boomi is fantastic at what they do, and so on. But they are focused on one problem domain. Then you have the other companies, which are these sort of multi-platform players. And they do everything, usually much more than us even. And the way they operate is internal political nightmare. People are trying to protect their domains, trying to protect their teams, they're trying to protect their product, their revenue, all kinds of stuff. And you get a lot of ego. You bring a group of senior people together in front of one of these large companies. Everybody wants to speak, nobody wants to listen. Right? If we start operating like that, we lose. Right? When we talk, we must give other people a chance to talk, but you can't say the moment they finish, okay, now let me tell you what I want. This is usually what happens. It's like parliamentary conversation. You know, we think democracy works because in parliament you can talk to each other. Have you ever listened to a parliamentary conversation in any country? There is no talking to each other. They are just talking because they need their 5 minutes in front of the mic to tell the world some shit nobody cares about. And then the deal happens underneath, right? Nothing in parliament is transparent. Any country, it's the same. Democracy, architecture of democracy through that process doesn't work. Everything's a deal. We are very, very unique. The way we have operated 20 plus years, we're very, very unique. Yes, we have a set of products and platforms and so on, but we operate as one team. The advantage we have is that we can talk to each other. That's the most important thing first. Without ego, without turf, without territory, we can talk to each other. And if somebody doesn't let you do that, you have to tell me. I will hang them. No, we're not politically correct probably to say that. I'll kick them where it hurts. Also use common sense. Common sense is not common. Just look at international politics in the last few days. The other thing is how you communicate. When you have a debate or a conversation, there's a difference between listening and hearing. Hearing means signal processing, basically, right? The waves come in, and something happens up there, right? That's signal processing, that's hearing. Listening means processing, understanding what is being said, evaluating it, and then responding. Not reacting, responding. Right? So yes, sometimes, you've been in meetings with me, I'm sure there's a bunch of people in like, what the frickin' hell is he talking about? I'm the one who reacts fastest, right, half the time. But I do listen, by the way. I listen and then react very fast, but no. Sometimes I do react, not respond, I agree. Human nature, right? Emotional beast. But, look, as a company, if we lose the ability to have arguments, and the arguments be about the depth of the argument, not an argument with the person, but the idea, and how we argue and how we hear each other, then we lose our advantage. This is the biggest advantage we have. We should be able to fight hard for something we believe in, right? And still be able to work with the person on something else, and where we disagree completely on something, and the other topic we agree and we work, and we still work on all the topics together. Right? That one you can learn from parliaments. The entire shouting at each other is an act for all of us to see, right? Underneath, they're all good buddies. So. But they don't work together, that's the difference. Look, if you want WSO2 to stay on top forever, there's only one underlying formula that will work, which is you got to protect this with weapons of mass destruction. Now I probably trigger some AI to check what the hell that weapon of mass destruction is. It's words, don't worry. Look, my time in WSO2 is limited, as is all of your time. Right? None of us are here forever. We are here for a short time. But the company's time is not meant to be limited. The company, if you want to be the partner for the world's best banks, the world's biggest governments, the smallest government, to the smallest company, to every citizen in the world, provide infrastructure for them to live and operate and do what they want to do, you can't say, well, we're done. There is no done. That's our responsibility, right? The things that endure is the culture and the values. Not me, not individuals, not personalities. Culture and values can endure. They have to evolve. As companies become bigger, they have to evolve. As we become more global. WSO2 was a very Sri Lanka. It was a Sri Lanka and Paul in US and Dims in UK. Paul in UK, Dims in US was it, right? Now we have people, I think, in about 20 countries. We have 158 people who flew into Colombo this week. And we are a very global company, right? Things have to evolve. You can't operate the same way, of course. That's fine. But the fundamentals have to be protected so that we can talk to each other and work as one team. That is the one thing that's going to help us move forward and win. Okay, my last one is iteration, not perfection. So, the model, the hardware didn't come in one iteration, right? Hardware came through a lot of steps. So same thing applies for us. We don't have to worry about getting things right the first time or even forever. Because there's always another iteration, right? It never finishes. So it's important to do things quickly. Quickly doesn't mean work till late at night every day or work through the weekend every day. That's not what quickly means. Quickly means don't waste time worrying about everything that you don't know about yet. There's always things you don't know about. That's always the case. Solve the problem that you can solve and move on and then do it again. Fail fast, iterate. We have talked about, iterative software engineering, so agile, all this stuff's been around for a long time. Iterating on everything is important. Architecture is very important because one of the biggest mistakes people make when you build software is you design software for the end game. I do a lot of work with government stuff in Sri Lanka. Every RFP that goes out has imagined an end game and says, build me a piece of software for that. Right? And almost every one of them fail as a result. Because they assume there is an end game, first of all, and there isn't. Second, nobody can imagine the end game. Right? Nobody's smart enough to imagine the end game correctly. Because you don't know how people are going to use something you built, so you have to be able to iterate. And when you don't bother getting it right, you have to accept that there will be failure. There will be things we do that don't work out. Yeah, so what? Throw it out, do it again. Right? A key part of this is the thing that allows you to evolve and iterate and operate is really culture. And the culture has to be cultivated. It doesn't just exist. It has to be something that we do every day. And if you look at any human culture, the long-term evolution requires the society, requires the environment, and requires a culture. So this is what we need to establish, and we have, and we need to protect, and we need to evolve, and keep pushing hard. That's how we will iterate everything. Right? Key thing is there is no end game. There is a tomorrow. There will be a day after. But there's no end game. There's no winning here. We're just going to keep on working. There is no exit. And yes, there will, of course, definitely be another hype, right, beyond AI. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm going to be a little bit early. That's good. We started late. I've talked about this multiple times. WSO2 is not a destination. It's a journey. It has no goal we're trying to get to. There's no, every year there are some targets we publish saying, yeah, we got to sell some amount of stuff, right? That's how we can, run the company. But that's not an end goal. There is no end goal. And if we do things right, none of us will see its end, if we do things right. And right now, we impact about 2.5 billion people in the world. Right? And this is calculated from various systems that we know people are running. I won't again name them because the recording is going to be made public. There are a lot of people whose lives are affected by our software. We are operating at a level way bigger than our pay grade. We only made $120 million of revenue last year. Right? We have bigger impact than companies that make tens to hundreds of those amount of money, right? So from that responsibility point of view, being here is our responsibility. It is not just a business goal. Being here to be able to keep all those systems running and supported is our responsibility. It is not it's not just about we want the company to survive so we have jobs, but it's about the fact that we have to be around in order to keep all the systems running. We are the wind beneath the wings, right? When you're the wind beneath the wings, okay, actually the plane doesn't go up because of wind beneath the wings. It goes up because of wind on top of the wings moving faster. A little detail, but and it's actually the wind. So it's not that the wind doesn't go away. The plane will fall if there's no air, right? The wind can be created with the engine. That's what the engine does. So we are the platform that allows these things to fly. Our customers, our enterprises, the businesses, the governments to fly. We have to be around for that. So because we do make the world a better place with our software. Thank you.